Inspired by some video clips I saw floating around YouTube, where people create best Pokemon teams for example, Pokemon Yellow, I decided to roughly do the same thing. Only, it's not going to be a best Pokemon team, because I believe that's subjective, but it's just going to be me giving some advice about picking some Pokemon that could make life easier while you play Pokemon Yellow. If you're up for that, stick with me and stick with this video. So, for the sake of things, let's call it a smooth run or a easy game. I don't know, I'm not good at those names. What I do know is that there is a potion in this PC, and for now, just leave that potion where it is. We're going to use it later, and I'll show you why and how. Pikachu is our first and only choice in this game, and it's a bit of a bummer that it can't evolve in Pokemon Yellow, but it still has its uses, and the potion I just showed you is part of one of those uses. So, for now, watch me lose to Gary, and note how Pikachu looks unhappy or cranky shortly after the fight. You can solve this crankiness by simply going back to your room and grabbing the potion from the PC that I mentioned earlier. You can use this potion to make Pikachu feel more happy. Why, you might ask? Well, quite simply put, Bulbasaur. In Pokemon Yellow, Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle will all be available to you. They come in the form of static encounters, and one of those static encounters is in a house in Cerulean City with a lady who's looking for a good trainer to take care of her Bulbasaur. The only catch is this requirement of being a good trainer isn't down to level, but it's down to Pikachu's happiness, which is why we're spamming the potions right now. So, when you're using this trick, aim for Pikachu getting 6 hearts above its head, and by that time you're done, and even a level 5 Pikachu can get you a Bulbasaur. Skipping ahead a bit to getting the Pokédex and buying some Pokéballs. At this stage, we can finally start thinking about building a team. And that team needs to have some answers for when we fight Brock and his Rock-type Pokémon. So we're going to need something that's super effective against Brock's Onix and his Geodude. And we can find a couple of options for that on Route 22 to the left of Viridian City. And Route 22 has Nidoran male and Nidoran female, which are both great early game options for facing Brock. Of course, Pokemon Blue also has Nidoran male and Nidoran female available at this route, but there is one small, albeit major difference, and that difference can be found in their Learn set. The thing is, we're looking for one specific move to beat Brock with, and that move is Double Kick. And in Pokemon Red and Blue, Nidoran male and female learn Double Kick at level 43, whereas in Pokemon Yellow they learn Double Kick at level 12. And this looks like a small difference, but in the Pokemon Yellow early game, this is actually a pretty big difference. And the second option is Mankey. Mankey is the sole reason for me why Route 22 in Pokemon Yellow seems more advantageous than it does in Pokemon Blue. And Mankey even learns Low Kick, a fighting move, at level 9. Which means it's actually easier to train and use at this stage than the Nidoran couple is, because they learn their fighting move at level 12. If you're just starting out playing this game, I would advise picking one of the two, because that way you can give either Mankey or Nidoran all the XP you need up until Brock, and that makes things a lot easier than having to train both. Also, it might not be bad to train your Mankey or your Nidoran just a little bit. Maybe 1 or 2 levels, because sometimes you catch them at level 2 or level 3, and that can even get you into trouble against the Caterpies in Viridian Forest. Once you leave Viridian Forest, however, most, if not all, your XP will have gone to either Mankey or Nidoran, depending on who you chose, and that should be more than sufficient to defeat Brock with. Once you leave Pewter City, just give all the XP on the route next to it to Nidoran or Mankey, because that is your ace Pokemon right now, and right now your best bet is to give all the XP to your ace Pokemon. When you get inside Mount Moon, there will be a whole bunch of items that you can pick up. One such item, which I'm showing as an example right now, is the TM Mega Punch. Now this is an early game TM. It won't be used much during late game, but it's there, so you might as well pick it up. Another neat and handy item that you can find in Mount Moon is the Moonstone. Just pick it up and immediately use it on your Nidorino or Nidorina. Don't be afraid to use it, because it's actually a much bigger advantage to have an early game Nidoking or Nidoqueen than to wait for that one move that they can learn later on. Right, so on to Cerulean City and picking up my Bulbasaur with a level 7 Pikachu. I would advise to use one of the 3 starter Pokemon that you can get. You can use all of them, of course, but the big drawback that I find is you get each of them at level 10, and it's a lot more work than you think to train them all up to the level that they need to be. So I picked Bulbasaur because right now I can give Bulbasaur all the XP from Nugget Bridge, all the XP from the route leading up to Bill's house, and then the XP from the first trainer in the gym, which will get me around about a level 20-ish Ivysaur against Misty. Pokemon is an RPG, which means there is no shame in boxing a Pokemon if it has outlived its usefulness. Pikachu has gotten us Bulbasaur and gotten us through Rock Tunnel by using Flash, but now it's time for a change. Whatever you do from this point forward to fill up the open slots on your team is really up to you. Since you now have a strong core, you can go looking for any option that you don't have yet. In my case, I'm going to get some evolution stones, and I'm going to decide what I want to do with the Eevee that you can get here in Celadon City. An Eevee evolution in Pokemon Yellow is the perfect way to fill up a slot on your team that you still feel you are lacking. Say for example you don't have a fire type, go with Flareon. If you still need a water type, go with Vaporeon. And if you've just boxed a Pikachu and no longer have an electric type, perhaps you should go with Jolteon. You probably guessed it, I picked Jolteon. In Generation 1, Jolteon has a 130 speed stat, which is pretty darn good, because that means that only Electrode outspeeds it, and its speed ties with both Aerodactyl and Mewtwo. Some quick advice from me:
Just immediately use the Thunderbolt and the Thunderwave TM on Jolteon as soon as you get it. This may seem like a waste, but really it's not. You'll find out why. The other reason why I chose Jolteon is because, as a fire type, I decided to go for Ninetales this time. Why? Why Ninetales? Well, for one thing, it's just convenient. Vulpix is relatively easy to acquire. Just go to the Team Rocket Game Corner and buy it as a prize for about 1,000 coins. Of course, if you're salty about no Charmander being added to the team, you can totally get Charmander out of the box on the PC. That's up to you. And the next Pokemon that I would add to the team is Snorlax. Snorlax is another relatively easy Pokemon to catch because it's another static encounter. You can find one on Route 12 and you can find one on Route 16, which pretty much means you have 2 chances to catch one. I'm teaching Snorlax a move that it can normally learn at a later level, but since this is a smooth and easy run, I want Snorlax to deal as much damage as possible as soon as possible. And last but not least, a Pokemon that some people might think is debatable in the easy to catch category, Starmie. Staryu can be found a little bit later on in the game after you have Surf and a Super Rod. And this is probably why a lot of people will say that Starmie is not the best choice for a convenient team. But the truth of the matter is that Starmie gives this team the exact coverage it needs, which is why I'm willing to wait a little bit longer to get it. With Starmie, I'm trying to hit 2 birds with 1 stone, because it adds both a water and a psychic typing to the team. It can also learn a lot of really good coverage moves, which can make it a big threat if people underestimate it, a couple of which I decided to show in this picture. Add to that some really nice stats, and it's no wonder that Starmie is one of the most overlooked Pokemon from the first generation, in my opinion. So what does the easy team / convenient team for Pokemon Yellow look like in the end? Well, let's have a look. First up, we have either Primeape or Nidoking Queen, depending on which you chose. Secondly, we have Venusaur, followed by Jolteon, complemented by Ninetales, backed up by Snorlax, and last but not least, we have Starmie. I think that with this team you have the right combination of fast special sweepers, strong physical attackers, and a couple of bulky walls that you can switch into anything. I realize, of course, that a lot of the choices for this team may seem very basic or generic, or something that everyone would do, and that's because they are. This team is not designed to be very unique or very different. It's just designed to have Pokemon in it that are easy to acquire and raise and easy to use, so you can play through Pokemon Yellow without thinking too much about it. And with that said, we have come to the end of this video. If you enjoyed watching this, please leave a like. If you didn't, then don't. And I hope you will join me again soon for another easy team. Thanks for watching.